It's finally here, Will. Opening day, baby. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 74, Bringing the Heat. My name's Cody Pyatt. With me, as always, the four-seam fastball of co-hosts. Sorry about your eardrums, Will Sism. Buddy, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. Opening day is finally here. We've made it. We're here. The regular season is here. So, man, I couldn't be more excited. Going to be a really fun episode. And, for basically from now until, let's say, November, we're going to have plenty of stuff to talk about.
Dude, no more off-season, man. These games, they count. And we're excited to dive into them next time. That's right. If you read the title, it's over unders. We needed one last episode to get us through the first fantasy week. And we got it, man. Let's, we did our division breakdown, our World Series kind of predictions, but I've always wanted to dive into the kind of over under game. I think it could be a lot of fun. I don't know about you, Will. I'm not a huge gambler as far as, especially in the wake of this I just have my interpreter do it for me, the big Otani thing. But no, I'm not, I don't think I'd ever throw money down, but it's fun to talk about, right?
I agree. I'm kind of in the same boat. I think some of that stuff is kind of interesting for sure. And, as far as what we're doing today with over and under, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And, people listening, listen for your favorite teams, your division rivals, and see what we think and see what you think.
I love it, dude. Hey, real quick, though, before we dive into that, one takeaway from opening day. We got to give the people something.
I would say, I think right off the bat, the first thing that comes to mind is Corbin Burns just absolutely dealing against the Angels. I get the Angels aren't a very good team, but man, if you're an Orioles fan, I know you were excited in the offseason when this happened, but man, you you ought to be real excited. I get it's just one start, but he was incredible. Same thing I mentioned to Cody right before we got going. I thought Tyler Glasnow looked just insanely good against the Cardinals today again. The question's always health with him, so let's see if he can put together 150, 160 or more innings. And if the answer is yes, you might be looking at the favorite for the Cy Young in the National League, him and Spencer Strider. So he just looked like he was cruising out there today, just 6 super easy innings against the Cardinals. But that was really the two big things that I saw so far today that really kind of caught my attention. But yeah, looking forward to this opening weekend. A lot of good series.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Hey, I'll go two things from the same game. Shout out to my boy Cole Reagans. Took the L, but looked pretty nasty doing it, man. 9 Ks in a quality start, 6 innings pitched, 3 walks, gave up a homer. But, dude, the stuff looks like it'll play. And then Byron Buxton. Can we just clap it up for him? He is back in the leadoff hole for the Twins and got a hit today, at least one. I don't know how the end of it. I was driving home. So, guys, baseball's back. It's a lot to be excited about. But let's dive into these over-unders. What I did, we're going to just break it down. We're going to go American League, National League, hit all the divisions. We're going to hit every team. So, we're going to find a groove with this, but, I also don't want us to be sitting here for 3 hours. I think that could run into some issues. So, Will, we're going to go East. I got win totals for every team. We're going to go in the order that the division was won the year before. So, you guys will pick it up at home. Trust me. So, the number. These are all from DraftKings. There are several different sites. I felt like they had the seemingly had the average of all the sites kind of put together. So I went DraftKings. Here we go. Baltimore. Their number was 90.5. Their win total in 23, 101. So the books think they're going to take a step back. What say you, Will?
Yeah, I agree with the overall premise. I don't see them quite getting to 101 again this year, but I don't see them falling below 90. So I'm going to go with the over on 90.5. I kind of see them somewhere in the range of 92 to 96 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be right there neck and neck with a team or two in the division. And I mean, I just think that lineup is so good. I talked about Corbin Burns today looking so good. I feel like this team is primed really kind of to be like I mean, I view the Orioles now, especially with Corbin Burns, kind
Mm-hmm.
of as a young version of what the Braves are basically are. So,
Yeah.
that lineup's really, really good. I think that pitching staff's going to more than hold its own. And my only question is really the bullpen without Felix Bautista. So, see how they perform whenever they get in close games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could be the difference in potentially them winning or losing the division, depending on how the bullpen turns out. But I'm going over the 90.5.
I think it's a great call, man. I took the over as well. Not a tough call. It seems like a really low number. I know we said we don't put money down for real, but I think I might at this number. I mean, things would just have to drastically go wrong. Injuries would have to come into play. Uh, I guess if you want to play devil's advocate, there is a world where Adley, Gunnar, somebody takes a step back. There's everybody's not going to hit their projections, and the projections have been shining very fondly on this team. So there's a world where somebody doesn't click, but I still think, I mean, you got Corbin Burns, like we talked about earlier. He shoved this today, so I loved a lot to love here. I'm taking the over. Moving on, man. Tampa Bay, boy, did they take a shot in the sports books. 84 and a half is their number. They won 99 games last year, but they had some pretty big losses as far as people going to play baseball at different places. Well, what are you thinking?
This one kind of hurt me a little bit. As everybody knows, I'm a big Tampa fan, but I've said all along, I really believe that this is the kind of the year of them retooling a little bit. I think that, the injuries that they have on the pitching staff, which is, Tampa Bay, let's face it, Tampa Bay builds their whole entire roster around that pitching staff, not only the starters, but the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're losing at the first part of the year, you're already missing a guy like Shane McClanahan. You're missing a guy like Jeffrey Springs. You're missing Rasmussen. Taj Bradley's already hurt. Um, there's only so much, as deep as this organization is in talent, there's only so many high end, especially arms, that you can afford to lose,
Yeah.
especially in a tough division like the AL East. I think it's going to catch up with them a little bit this year. I think they'll still be somewhere close to around a 500 ball club. I think they'll, for the majority of the year, I think they'll be within striking distance of a wild card spot. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't quite see them getting to that number. So I'm going to say the under, and we'll see how it plays out. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, bud, because I said the over. And I said I don't need a reason because they're the Rays and they
Yeah.
figure out a way to win 95 games every year. So we're going to see. I think this is probably the lowest level of talent, just, A to Z on this roster that, since this run has started. So I'm going to take the over. I think your lane is a lot more likely. But like I said, this is a pro Rays podcast, and so we want good
Yeah.
things to happen, man.
Yep.
Okay, Blue Jays moving on down. 86 and a half. They won 89 last year. Then got bounced by the Twins in the wild card series there, Will. What you doing?
I'm going to say under. I mean, this is the team that, I know I've been hard on these guys, but until they actually do something, man, I'm just going to sit here and wait. So, I'm going to say slightly under. I don't think that, it's going to be a crazy amount that they're going to fall under this projection, but I think it'll be slightly under. And I think the major reason for that is I need to see the Blue Jays figure out how to win close ball games, how to win
Yeah.
ugly sometimes, how to win when they're just not straight mashing.
Yeah.
I think that's the next step that I need to see out of this team. I I know Kevin Gossman is supposed to be healthy, but the little bit of injury scare in spring training also scares me a little bit because I
Sure.
don't love the starters behind him.
Sure.
Plus, Jordan Romano's already hurt. That's a big deal when your closer's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, I think this lineup's going to have to take a huge step forward compared to what it was a year ago. We'll see if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So until all that happens, I'm going to say under slightly of the 86.5. Plus, I think the
Yeah.
division's better top to bottom.
That's true. That's true. I agree with that last point for sure. I took the over. I feel like if you just look on this at this team on paper and you don't watch them play, the number could be 96.5. I mean, we talk about it over and over. This is like the paper tiger
Oh yeah,
of teams. So I'm going to say the offense is going to click. I love the Justin Turner ad.
yeah.
Dalton Valshar. Ah, boy, I tell you what, late night record guys after a work day. I think the names are going to just keep getting worse. Dalton Varsho, he cannot be as bad as he was last year. So that's my 2 cents there. I mean, maybe that's who he is now. But we'll see. He's Max Muncy, who doesn't hit as many home runs and can steal more bags. We'll see, buddy. I'm taking the over, dude. I think this team can win 90 games. I want to see it. Kevin Gossman's healthy, so over. The Yankees, buddy, 91.5 is their number. Win total in 23-82. Thoughts?
You know what? So here was my thoughts on this one. At first, I wanted to say over, but the Garrett Cole injury, literally that one thing right there,
Yeah.
caused me to say under. If
Yep.
Garrett Cole would have been healthy, I would have absolutely 100% said over.
Mm-hmm.
I still think this team, even without Garrett Cole, could possibly get just above that number. But everything's going to have to break perfectly, I think. Aaron Judge needs to also stay healthy. I definitely, as we've kind of documented over these last few weeks, I firmly believe this lineup is going to be really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know, especially without Garrett Cole, how the pitching is going to hold up. And that's really my main question mark with the Yankees. So because of that, mainly because of Garrett Cole, I'm going to say slightly under this win total.
Yeah. This has got to be the number before he went down, but I looked everywhere. Short of downloading the app, putting money in, and like opening it, like this is the number that I'm finding everywhere. So I guess they haven't moved it, but they
Yeah.
definitely should. It's under without Garrett Cole for every reason that they said. Soto looked great today. I think he got a couple bops. It could be wrong, a couple hits.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. I mean, he's a Cy Young winner. He's probably the best pitcher in baseball, just consistency wise.
Yep.
So, yeah, under for sure. Red Sox, speaking of things that are painful, man, 77.5 is the number. So they won 78 games. So are they going to win more or are they going to win less than last year? What say you, Will Sism?
You know what? I think, to be honest with you, I think this number feels right on the money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just the only reason I'm gonna say under is because, as I said earlier, I think the division, top to bottom, is just a little bit better than it was a year ago. I think hopefully we're gonna see a little bit more consistency out of the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the Rays are gonna be a tough out anytime you play them.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees, in my opinion, are going to be much better even without potentially DeGarrett Cole.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about how much we like the Orioles. So I just think it's going to be tough for the Red Sox to quite get to 77.5 or more. So I'm going to say slightly under.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. This is I think this team could get worse because you're looking at a team, and there's going to be a few that we talk about that are going to sell at the deadline.
Yeah.
I cannot see Jansen ending the year here.
Yeah.
There's tons of guys. Martin, if he has another stand-up year like he had last year, I mean, he was awesome. So, I mean, this team's just going to get worse before it potentially might get better. I mean, at some point, they'll be back on top, but I don't know. Wait, it's hard to see a path right now in the near future. Under, no doubt about it, buddy. Hey, Central, let's talk about it, man. Minnesota, they had a pretty solid year last year. They were the team that didn't lose the division, it felt like. Only team over 500 in the Central. They won 87 games. Their number this year, 86.5. What you feeling?
You know what? I think they're going to kind of repeat exactly what they did a year ago. I think they're going to win 86, 87 games. So I'm going to say barely over.
Yeah.
I just think that the division is still there for the taking. Basically, the opposite of what we were saying in the AL East. I think the division is going to
Yeah.
really help buoy their win total. I think that the pitching staff is honestly too good not to win close to that amount of games just in and of itself. But man, the whole key to this is can their stars stay healthy, man? I think that's the biggest question, man. I think the pitching staff's more than good enough. I think the bullpen's solid even without a guy like Duran, who's hurt right now, which that scares me a little bit. As I mentioned with Jordan Romano with the Jays, anytime your closer goes down, that's a big deal to me. But
Yeah.
I'm still going to say slightly over, just mainly because of the division and that pitching staff. And let's just cross every finger we have to see if they can stay healthy.
Yeah. Well, I got bad news for you because Royce Lewis already went down. Game one, going first to third. So it looks like a hamstring. Who knows how much time he'll miss? Probably not a ton, but it's just not a great look.
Yep.
That being said, I took the over. I think they're the most complete team in this division, which again isn't saying that much. It's like me, who's 6'3.5", 6'4", going into like elementary school and saying like I'm the tallest guy here. Like that's just what it is, man. It's about your surroundings. I don't know. Can the trio? This is literally what I wrote. Can the trio of Buxton, Correa, and Lewis stay healthy enough to carry this number?
Yeah.
So far, no, but it's so early. I mean, it's obviously really early. We're one game in, but I feel like they'll still hit the over. Detroit, fun young team, man. A lot of fun stuff to look forward to. Won 78 games last year. Their number is 80.5. So Vegas thinks they're going to get better. What you got, Will?
Yeah, I love this team. I really do. I think they're gonna get over. I think the pitching staff has all the potential in the world to be really, really good. Skubal was great today, by the way. I get that he was going up against wasn't it like the White Sox or somebody, but
Double A team, sure.
Right, but still, man, anytime you shut down a major league offense and just cruise through 6 innings like he did today, that's impressive. And so if Skubal is healthy all year long, I love this team. I think they've got a really good shot at winning the division over Minnesota. I think that lineup is going to be much improved with guys like Riley Green, Torkelson, guys like that, those young guys, Colton Keith, what's he going to be?
Yeah.
Kerry Carpenter. So I think that this team could be the surprise of the AL.
Yep.
And I'm definitely going with the over on this one.
Yeah. I took under, man. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this team. If the offense clicks, they're going to hang with Minnesota. I wholeheartedly believe that. I love their bullpen, man. Back half, they added Shelby Miller, who had a sneaky great second half of the year last year. And let's see what Alex Lang will do. Will Vest, I mean, this is the best reliever you've never heard of,
right.
Listeners. Dude's got some nasty stuff. And the youth is just, I mean, riddled throughout this lineup. But I can't go over on a team with Javi Baez, so I'm gonna have to take under, dude, until they get rid of him. Did I send you this picture? I remember in the offseason there was a probable trade. MLB Network, they must have done their homework. They had Javi Baez going to the Red Sox 1-for-1 for Trevor Story.
Oh wow, that
would just be like the worst trade ever. I'd have to stop watching the Red Sox for the duration of his contract. I'm just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Anyway, all that to say, under, but I'm rooting for him. I think it's a cool story if they pop off, man.
Take the over, America.
Yeah. I think you're one for Javi. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they ship him to the White Sox at the deadline or something.
Yeah, that'd be a great fit.
Great. We'll go Cleveland with this next one, bud. They won 76 games last year. Sneaky low number. Their number this year is 79.5. So will they get to 80 wins?
I'm going to buy the over on this one. I think that this division is just 100% going to be mediocrity. I think that, I don't know. I just think that the Guardians can get to 80 wins or more. I think that, by all accounts, it seems like Shane Bieber is ticking up a little bit as far as health going into this year.
We're going to see tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. And I really like some pieces in that lineup. If you remember from last year, this was kind of my breakout team, and it just never happened. And so, the thing is about the Guardians is they don't have to have just an amazing lineup to win games. They just need to be able to consistently, scrounge out 4, 5, 6 runs, and they should be able to win a lot of close games with that bullpen, with that pitching staff. And there's some pieces in that lineup that I really like. We know that Jose Ramirez is a superstar, but guys like Josh Naylor, guys like is Andres Jimenez going to come back to what he showed 2 years ago?
Sure.
They need guys like that to really step forward. And so, anyways, I think this team can get to 80 or more wins. I don't think it'll be much more than that, but I think that the pitching is going to be just good enough to get there.
Yeah. Dude, I love your optimism. I hate to go the other way, but I'm going to say under. I love the top 4 in the lineup, and I think you talked about them, Kwan, Jimenez, J-Ram, Naylor. But after that, a lot of question marks, guys. A lot of guys that you're looking at, and you're like, what's a Taylor Friedman going to do for me, or a Bo Naylor? Now, he's top prospect, and it has some great on-base statistics, so we'll see what it pans out. But you got I don't know, just not a lot of offense to believe in. That's kind of been their MO. And probably the biggest reason that I'm taking the under is I'm a little nervous with it being a Bieber walk year.
Yeah.
Are they going to just move him at the deadline? Because then the rotation gets real scary. But there is a lane for all the young pups to, they just take the reins off of, like Allen, and Gavin Williams come back and is healthy, and Tanner Bybee,
right?
Tanner Bybee's again like he did last year, and then and then that's a heck of a pitching staff.
Yeah,
but you gotta hang on to your studs, in my opinion.
You made a really good point there. I will say this with the Guardians, they're probably. I'll say this. I think they might be the most underrated organization on developing pitching. Because you always think about, and rightfully so, you think about the Dodgers, you think about the Braves, you think about Tampa Bay, you think about certain teams like that are just incredible at getting the most out of pitching, and they are. Those are the 3, in my opinion, the gold standards, but not too far behind them as a team like the Guardians. And I think sometimes, the average casual fan doesn't totally, grasp how good they are as an organization on that. And so, to your point, I think that young pitching staff, even behind Bieber, could carry this team to, at least in the getting them a shot at a wild card spot.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep saying it, until we talk about the next 2 teams in this division. But in this division, anything's possible.
Yes,
so,
it is.
I like the Austin Hedges as well. They brought him back. He'll be he can handle pitching staff, and he's not going to start. It'll probably be Bo Naylor, but he's a stud. And then what's Tristan McKenzie going to do on the bounce back? Those are my big question marks. This is why I think it's a great number, and it's probably a win either way for Vegas, because that's a tough number. Sure. I like that it went up. I think this team got better. Yeah. Like I said, the deadline makes me nervous. Is Class A still going to be here? Is Bieber still going to be here?
Yeah.
No one wants to be at this next team's location. The Chicago White Sox, man, they won 61 games last year, and their number's 61.5. What do you like?
Dude, I cannot pick the over with the White Sox. This is the absolute dumpster fire organization, other than the A's, in my opinion, and all of Major League Baseball. So, here's kind of what I think. I think that you're going to see the same old White Sox the first couple of months of the season. I think they're going to have a total fire sale. I think they're going to unload anybody with any value, not named Luis Robert. And I think you're going to basically see a Double-A club from, whenever the trade deadline is, around August, from August into September. And I think they're barely going to be under the win total. So, I'm going to say under.
Yeah. They're trying everything in Chicago, man. They got Michael Kopech in the bullpen. You got Garrett Crochet starting games.
Right.
Up is down. Down is up, dude. It's
Crochet pitched well today.
yeah. I listen. Hey, I'm excited for him. I think you stretch him out. I worry about his ability to stay healthy, but
Yeah.
and obviously location where he pitches. I would say this. I took the over. I think to win 62 games, you're basically saying
Yeah.
you can lose 100 games,
Right.
and you'll still hit if you take the over.
Yeah.
So it's just such a low number. I think they could maybe even win 63 games. That's what I wrote down here.
Man.
I know they just traded Cease, but I think that number is so low. And I have a little bit of faith in the talent on this team. I mean, you look around, Andrew Vaughn can do something. If Eloy can stay healthy, obviously Luis Robert is a stud. But
yeah,
I think, dude, at some point, I think you just cut ties with that guy. Sell him, get what you can get.
If you can get a King's ransom, absolutely.
Someone's going to do it. Right? I mean, somebody stupid. It'll probably be like the Braves or somebody with the draft. The Dodgers have the number 3 farm system in baseball.
Oh, yeah, they're brilliant.
It's like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole big league club could be in the farm system and they'd still be like 24th best. It's just, it's a mess, man. It's a mess. All that to say, I'm taking the over. Moving on. Kansas City, man, they won 56 games. Their number, I hope you're sitting down for this, Will. I know you are, 74.5.
Yeah.
They think they're going to get 19 games better. What are we talking about?
That was honestly, when looking at this list, that was one of my major, kind of, I don't want to say shocking revelations, but just, man, winning 18 more games than you did a year ago, that's significant.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to say, here's the thing. I don't think anybody in their right mind cannot say that they've at least improved
a lot.
Yeah, but I think it's asking a lot, especially from a super young team like that, to improve their win total from essentially 18 games year over year. So I'm going to say slightly under. I don't think I think they'll win close to 70 games. And I think they're absolutely on the right track. But I think they're a year or two still away. I just want to see this team start to learn how to win. I want to see them start to develop some pitching, build a little bit better bullpen. And we'll see how that lineup looks with Vinny P healthy around Bobby Witt. So, anyways, there's optimism in Kansas City. I just don't think they're quite going to get to that number just yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would be surprised. I'm trying to think how many games the Rangers lost, or won rather, previously before their year last year, because I feel like it was like 68. But other than that, I cannot think of a team that has popped that heavily. It feels like a trap. It feels like a Vegas trap. Like they know something we don't. And there's some things to look at and get psyched out with this rotation. We've already talked about Reagans, and you got Walker and Lugo coming over from San Diego. Those guys are studs. Can Brady Singer bounce back? But there's a lot to like in the lineup as well. I'm sorry, I cannot do 19 games, and just like the Chicago number was too low, so I'm taking the over. This number is too high, and I'm taking the under. We're going unders, Will.
If they had a little bit more rock solid bullpen for me, I'd be very tempted to go over.
All right, James McArthur isn't doing it for you, Will?
Oh, God, not yet.
Not yet. We'll see. Will Smith's on this team, so they're going to win the World Series, or at least whatever team he gets traded to at the deadline. Right. Okay, the West, the Wild West, Will. Houston, 93.5 is the number. They won 90 games last year. I already saw your answer, and I don't like it. Go ahead, sir.
You know what? I think I think this division is almost, if it did not have the A's in the division, and I'll throw the Angels in there, I think these are absolutely the best 3 teams in any division, with the Mariners, the Astros, and the Rangers, in whatever order you want to put them in. And so mainly for that reason, I'm going to say that the win total is slightly under. I mean, I think they're going to win 90, 91 games. I just don't quite see them getting over 93. Okay. I love the bullpen. I like the lineup a lot still, but man, I have a lot of questions in that rotation right now. Framber didn't look great today. Not gonna lie, struggle with some command, which is
Dude,
for
the
Framber.
ball, yeah.
Huh?
The
What?
ball was almost, he had so much movement on the ball. It was like he didn't know, like the four seam was cut, man. It was
It was like
crazy.
Clay Holmes esque.
It really was. That's what I
Yeah,
thought of when I was watching it. Sorry
yeah.
to interrupt.
No, you're good. I really believe, and Cody, I know you really like the Astros, and I mean, here's the thing: the Astros are an incredible organization. I'll be the first one to say it. I just really believe that for anybody who's really bullish on the Astros, I think you still have to have major questions in that rotation, just because mainly Verlander's not healthy. Javier is going to have a major bounce back over what he did a year ago.
Yeah.
Framber was so inconsistent in the second half last year. He was either great or not great.
Yeah.
And I know it's just one start, but that didn't give me a ton of confidence today, what he did out there. So
No.
I love every aspect of this team but the starting rotation. And if I have questions about a starting rotation, I have a hard time believing that 93 wins is going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, 6 walks. I didn't realize it was 6. I was at work. I had the game on kind of in the
Brutal,
background.
man.
And I mean, I saw a lot of 3-ball counts. I saw a couple. I could have been worse. I saw a couple of grounded in double plays with the bases juiced. And I was like, yeah, Framber's still Frambering. I did not know it was 6 walks. If you're watching YouTube while Will was talking, you saw me just go like eye roll. Holy crap, what just happened? Yeah. That's why my category league is starting out not looking too great. It's one day, guys. You don't look at the scores. You know, make it to like Tuesday, okay?
Yeah.
And then you can start really focusing on the scores. But dude, I was like, why is this so poor? No, I took the over. I like all the points that you made. I'm with you on the rotation. It makes me nervous. I think we either talked about it on the show or in person recently, but the rotation has gotten more injured since we left. You got Urquidy now. He went down with a forearm. So I'm banking on Verlander coming back, and I'm banking on them making some moves. But I think the offense is too electric to fall flat of this number. And I mean, they're not going to go out and spin it great every time, obviously, but Valdez and Javier, I believe in those guys. So what's Hunter Brown going to give you? I don't know about JP France. I love his glove. It's got a really cool glove. And then Google it, and you'll figure out why I like it, teammates. And then Blanco, we'll see. Maybe he's awesome. Maybe he's not. But I tell you who is awesome. Hater, 1 inning pitch, 3 Ks. Moving on, Will. Can't do any better than that, man. I mean, you just can't do any better than that.
It's true. I'm just worried that the Astros are going to wear out their bullpen this year. I think that's a legitimate concern because it's so good, and it's going to be so tempting to go to that bullpen. For a new manager
as well.
Right. It's going to be so tempting to dip into that bullpen whenever any of those starters show any signs of getting in trouble. And I just worry if you're an Astros fan that they're going to dip into the well too often in the regular season. And come postseason, they're going to be all out of gas. That is my major concern with them.
Could happen. We're going to have to tune in and see, guys. 161 more of these bad boys to go. Okay.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Texas, 88.5 is their number. They won 90 last year. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to say slightly over. I have major concerns right now of the rotation just because there's so many veterans in that rotation that are hurt. But here's the thing. I think that lineup is probably top to bottom, other than Baltimore, probably the best lineup in the American League. And so I think the bullpen, based on what I saw a year ago in the postseason, I think it's good enough, and I think that they'll get to 90 wins. I really do. So, I think the lineup's going to have to carry them, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. They need Nate Eovaldi to really be good every 5th or 6th day to begin the year.
Yes, sir.
And I just think with the addition of a guy like Wyatt Langford to an already incredible lineup, Evan Carter being in there pretty much every day, I just think this lineup's too dang good to not win 90 games. And so, I'm going to say the over.
Yeah. I agree the lineup is nasty. And I agree that if they get in October, they could be a problem if their lineup comes together and is healthy. But I'll take the under for the regular season. But all you got to do is get to the dance. They proved that last year. DeGrom, Scherzer, Eovaldi would be a monstrous.
And Tyler Mahle.
Mahle, dude. Yeah, I have him on the sheet. Here. I left him out. But hey, we'll see. We'll see, man. It's going to be a very interesting midsummer kind of. Let me tell you something. You know, when they go in and they make these rehab assignments, the big leaguers usually buy the ginormous spread. Okay, I've always read that.
Yeah.
I've never been at a big league clubhouse. Anybody who's ever played sports with me probably understands that and knows why. Those AAA Texas players, they're going to be eating good all summer because they're going to have professionals just coming through, buying them spreads, man. It's going to be like the show for those kids. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to take the under, but I'm excited to see what happens in the second half. Will, we talked about some great rotations today, man, but this next team might have the most filthy rotation in baseball. Seattle, their number is 87.5. They won 88 games last year. So they're basically saying, can they do a little bit better than last year or just as good, really? What do you got, man?
I agree. I think the answer is yes. I think this team has slightly gotten better than it was a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So why would they not win over 87 or 88 games? So I think the rotation is another year more experienced. I think getting a guy like Mitch Garver, I think, might be one of the most underrated moves of the offseason. I really think that if he's healthy all year, batting in the middle of that lineup, I think that that's going to be the kind of a much-needed presence to have behind a guy like Julio Rodriguez and whoever they slot in the 3-hole.
Yeah.
But you said it, man. I just think this rotation, I'd put this rotation up against anybody's in the whole entire major leagues. I think it's that good. The bullpen, they always figure it out with a bullpen, so I'm not overly concerned about, a couple of losses that they've had to free agency there. I think here's the thing. I think there's going to be 3 90-win teams in the AL West. And I think part of their win totals, let's face it, they get to play the A's and the Angels a bunch too, know. And so, I have to believe that all 3 of those teams, the Rangers, the Astros, and the Mariners, are going to really really kind of have their way whenever they have those series against the Angels and the A's all year. So that only helps as well.
Yeah, it's true. I love it, man. The additions for this year, I don't know like long term how it's going to pan out, but I love Polanco. I love Mitch Garver. We didn't talk about it, but Will Smith, he signed that long term 10-year, $140 million for the Dodgers. And one of the stats I saw was he was number 2 in OPS amongst catchers over the last 3 years. And number 1 on the list was Mitch Garver. And I was like, this guy is a stud. Now I was reading after that he's like 0 for 31 in Seattle's home ballpark, T-Mobile. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. I mean,
something's got to give.
He looked at himself in the mirror and said, I'm not scared. Okay.
Right.
What if he just bats 0? He never gets a hit there. He just gets all his hits on the road. No, that's not going to happen. He's going to have a great year. And for that reason, I'm taking the over. It's not the only reason. It's a small piece. I love that rotation, man. I think Kirby's going to take a step up. Maybe Luis Castillo gets a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like in Seattle.
And a guy like Bryce Miller, does he take another step forward? I think he might be the key to this whole thing. If Bryce Miller emerges as, he's going to probably be their number 3 starter, let's face it. But
like Gilbert, and then he'll go 4.
Oh, yeah, Gilbert too. Gilbert's a really good pitcher. But if Bryce Miller is kind of I feel like he's a guy, though, that has the explosive stuff to where if everything clicks, he could be something super special. And so let's see how he looks over the first few starts of the season. And I think that's going to be a huge deal for Seattle one way or the other.
I love it, man. Hey, these last 2 in the American League, and then we'll move on. L.A.
Dude, these last 2 teams, I'm just going to lump them together. The Angels and the A's.
Yeah, I'll say this, 72.5. I didn't say the number. That's what the pause was for. That's my bad. Well, I'll raise my hand.
You're good.
72.5 was the number for the Angels. So you're saying
the Angels, I mean, my gosh, they won 73 games a year ago, and that's when they had Ohtani on their team. So, I
Yep.
mean, how in the world are they going to get to over that without him? So,
And then
I'm definitely saying under for the Angels. I just think that this is a absolute complete rebuild on our hands here. And then
yeah.
Oakland, what more is there to say? I can't believe their win total is actually 57.5. So I'm definitely saying under. I mean, I think that team is a glorified AAA team with all due respect to those guys. So I'm
Dude,
going to definitely say under on both of those.
I would love to see 7-game set with like the top middling. Doesn't have to be the top. Middling AAA team versus Oakland. I bet it would be more competitive to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, under. I'm with you. Let's move on to the National League. Boy, this first team, the East, Atlanta, regular season champions, dude. They are fantastic in the regular season. 101 and a half. First triple digit number, I believe. Will, that's crazy. They won 104 last year. What do you got?
Man, you're right. That's such a big number. And could they get there? Absolutely. But I'm going to say slightly under. I just think that it's asking a lot to win 102 games. I don't care how good your team is.
Yep.
Um, do I firmly believe they'll win the division? I do.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't quite think they'll get to 102. I do have a little bit of a concern about their starting rotation. Can guys like Chris Sale stay healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Can Charlie Morton stay healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Um, is Spencer Strider able to go out there every fifth day and put together an incredible start? Um, I know that's high standards, but if you're the number one pitcher in the game, we expect you to go out there every fifth day and dominate. And so,
Yep.
having said all that, I just think they're going to be slightly short. But is this team going to be absolutely incredible? Yes.
Yep. Dude, retweet, man. I'm with you, man. I said they might win the division by 10 games again, but 102. I mean, just for betting purposes, it's kind of it's a dude. There's so many lanes for that not to happen. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's probably more likely that it will, but it almost feels like you'd be silly to count on everybody staying healthy and everybody. I mean, there's just a lot of things. Like one big star goes down. Well, they have more big stars, but if Acuna goes down again, is
Yeah.
this team winning 102 games? I really don't think they are. Dude, this next team, the Phillies. I don't want to find out, by the way. Okay, please stay healthy,
Yeah.
Mr. Acuna. We really like watching you play baseball. Okay, the Phillies, 89 and a half. They won 90 last year. What do you got?
I'll be honest. This was the team that I saw the number, and this was one of the easier picks for me. I think it's an over. I think that this team is too good not to win 90 or more games. I
Yeah.
just, I get they're in the same division with the Braves, so I look forward. I mean, hey, we got Braves Phillies opening series starting tomorrow, so
Yeah.
I just think that the Phillies though are too good of a team not to get to that number. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's not really a weakness on that team. I think the lineup's really good. I
Mm-hmm.
love the pitching staff. I really like the bullpen. I think they've got it all. And plus they've got a front office that's shown that, come trade deadline, if they need to go out and get somebody, they will.
Yep.
And so I just have a lot of faith in this team. I think that which we'll talk about the other teams here in a second. But I think the bottom part of this division is also going to be a little bit weaker as a whole this year.
Yeah.
And so I think that's also to give teams like the Braves and the Phillies even more opportunity to boost that win total. So, yeah, I like the over on the Phillies for sure.
Yeah, dude. I'm with you. I took over as well. Team's a machine, no huge additions, but Harper's gonna be healthy all year, or at least he's starting out.
Yeah.
We'll see with the back pending. But last year he had some power zapped. Hopefully, we're looking at a guy 35, 40 bombs, which is kind of his normal. And then Trey Turner, hopefully he performs to the Trey Turner is that he usually does, and had a slow first half, and so there's the lane right there for them to do better than they did last year with no big ads. And like you just said, they like to make ads, dude. That's what this team does. Miami, Vegas thinks they're taking a dip. 78.5 is their win total. They won 84 games last year. today they had 2 cracks at the apple in overtime. Lord, extra innings. Will got college basketball in the brain, baby.
Right.
Extra innings. Will they they had no run scored in the top half. And they had that ghost run on second. Couldn't bring them home. I was listening to it on the radio, like, what are we doing? But for now, 78.5 over or under.
This one was actually a really tough one for me. I'm gonna say slightly under. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were slightly above. This number feels kind of right on the money for me. I think my biggest concern is the injuries to the rotation. Because this, kind of what I was saying about the Rays. Like this organization is built around that pitching staff, and so when you've got a guy like Sandy Alcantara who's not going to be there all year, you've already got perhaps one of the most electric arms in all of baseball, young arms, and Yuri Perez. He's starting the year on the IL. So it feels like to me that if this team kind of falls out of contention the first couple of months of the season, then they are going to like sit guys like Yuri Perez or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to slightly lean the under here. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up going over it just because they do have some talented players. But I'm going to say under on this one.
Yep, I'm with you, man. It's actually worse than you described because Cabrera and Garrett are also hurt. And so that's literally 4 or 5 their starting rotation. Now, they've had some guys step up in the spring. Puck, they're going to try and stretch him out. And then Ryan Weathers looked really good. Trevor Rogers is coming back from injury last year. And then Max Meyer, again, remember, I think in 22, he came up and looked pretty nasty in a cup of coffee. And then might have had to have Tommy John. I remember having him on the team and then having to drop him. I'm pretty sure it was TJ. So this is another team that can find pitching and develops pitching pretty well.
Yes.
But to lose, man, this rotation was pretty gnarly, dude. And to lose 4 of the 5. Now you got Jesus Luzardo, who looked pretty slick today. I think couple that with a pretty middling offense.
Yeah.
I'm taking the under, even with the dip. This is what I thought was weird, though, here. Moving on, Will. New York Mets, 81.5. They think Vegas has the Mets over Miami. I think it's going to be closer than that. But what do you got?
I kind of agree with you. Here's the thing. I do think that Edwin Diaz being back is going to be a huge deal for this team. I really do. Having said that, to me, it feels like this offense is so reliant on Lindor and Alonso at this point. I don't love offenses that feel that reliant on 1 or 2 players.
Yeah.
And really with the pitching staff, I don't really know what to make of the pitching staff because Kodai Senga is hurt. Obviously last year they traded away Verlander and Scherzer. So this Mets team feels a lot different than it did a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, other than Edwin Diaz coming back, I don't love really what's happening there. And who knows if Pete Alonso is going to finish the year as a Met too. Let's not forget that.
Right.
So I'm going to say under for this one. And to be honest, though, this feels like a total wild card team to me. I don't know what quite to make of them. I want to see how they look over the first few weeks of the season, and maybe we'll be wrong. I have no idea, but I just don't have great vibes coming from the Mets this year.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. Hey, listen, we could do a whole episode on this team, man. I mean, they have pieces that they have locked up long term in like a Lindor and a Nimmo, and you're like, okay, these guys are going for it. And then, they tried with the 2 older gentlemen at the helm in Verlander and Scherzer. It didn't work out. Yeah. Now it's like, what are we doing? You got Pete Alonso who's going to be going into his 30-year-old season next year, hitting free agency. If you don't bring him back, but you're trying to compete in 25, because you have all these other guys, locked up to long-term deals, it's weird. I'm taking the under simply because I really feel like there's a lane. They have 3 pitchers on 1-year deals. It is Severino, Manaea, and then I believe Hauser. I know for a fact I looked it up. It's 3 pitchers, but I didn't write their names down. I think
Yeah.
those are very flippable pieces at the deadline if they're not playing well. I think that's kind of the point of signing them to those 1-year deals and not going after a guy like Snell or Montgomery, who, let's face it, would really help this team
Yeah.
in a little bit longer period. So that's my fear, that there's a lot of pieces they're going to try and move. Not least of all, Pete Alonso, like you said, dude, he could win the batting title in a different uniform, home run wise. So,
Yep.
not the batting title. Okay, he's not going to
Correct.
dethrone Luis Arraez in the NL. I misspoke. He might win the home run crown, but yeah.
If Pete Alonso
see.
wins the batting title, then he's going to be the number 1 overall pick next year.
Fantasy, yeah. Move over, Acuna. Yep, it's going to hit 55 home runs, 370 average.
320.
Be the best year anybody, dude. That would be hilarious. Yeah, you heard it here first. Bringing the heat, man.
Right.
Okay, yeah, we. That'd be wild, dude. Okay, speaking of wild, you got the Washington Nationals at a crispy 66.5. They won 71 games last year. What do you got?
Man, this one kind of pains me a little bit because I really do like the direction that this franchise is going. I just think they're in the wrong division right now trying to compete. So I'm going to slightly say under just because I feel like somebody in this division has to lose a lot of games. But here's the thing. I think CJ Abrams is going to be a very, very good player. I think a guy like Mackenzie Gore, if he ever figures out the command again, I think he can be a top of the line rotation guy.
Yep.
I like a lot of their young pieces. I really do. And there's more exciting stuff to come in their minor league system too. So I just think they're probably 2 years away still.
Sure.
And so I'm going to slightly say that they come in under I think it's 66.5. So don't be surprised if they win 70 games or somewhere around there, but I'm going to slightly say under.
Yeah. This is one of my less confident picks, but I took the over. I want to stress the fact I don't think this team is good. I like what you said about, maybe a couple years from now, it really panning out with, the guy, what's his name? Dylan Cruz.
Dylan Cruz.
That dude looks like the real deal. We got some talent. Woods raked in spring. So, guys, give it a couple years. The rotation's a mystery, like you talked about, but I do think there's enough young pieces. I mean, can Joey Gallo, bounce back in a team where no one's going to care if he fails? You play in New York, you play in LA, you're going to get booed if you fail. Maybe not LA, dude. They're just happy-go-lucky, winning 100 games all the time. But Jesse Winker, kind of a sneaky pickup. He's had some success in the past with the Reds and Milwaukee. Lane Thomas, underlying stats. He's just ducking them like the Matrix, man. Do they look good? No, but does he produce? Yes. Okay, so and then Abrams, like you said, there's a lot of things that you're like, oh, okay, I could pick this apart and be satisfied, but no, I'm taking the over, but I think they might win 70 games, like you said.
Yeah.
The Central, as we move on. We're at a 53, 54-minute mark, guys. If you're here listening, we love you. Check us out on YouTube, man. You can see what Sleepy Cody looks like. Worked all day. You know what I mean? We'll work too, but he's simply glowing. I don't know how he does it, okay? It's unbelievable. We got 2 more divisions we're going to pump through, but I just want to brief we love you break. Okay, here we go. Central, man. Milwaukee. They took the division last year. It feels like a decade ago this happened, but they won 92 games, won the division. They lost some pieces, and their numbers showing it, man. 77.5 is the new number. What do you got?
I don't like it. I really don't. I don't think they're getting there. I'm going to say the under. I said this earlier, I think when we were doing our preview. I just think that when you lose both Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns, man, that is a massive blow. I mean, a massive blow, especially a franchise like the Brewers that is all about, starting pitching, get our starters through the 5th or 6th inning, turn it over to the bullpen. Speaking of the bullpen, Devin Williams, arguably the best closer in baseball, is out for several months minimum.
Yeah.
So when teams are built on pitching and they are losing out on their best 2 from a year ago, I don't see it, man. even if their offense is a little bit improved, I think this division is sneaky good.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a superstar team in this division yet, but I think every team in the division is capable. And so I just think the Brewers are going to have a tough go of it this year. I really do.
Yeah. I think if I had to put money down, I'd probably say under, but I'm going over. And I just think they've improved on the offensive side in a lot of sneaky ways that I'm pretty excited about. I like Hoskins. I sneaky like Gary Sanchez in that ballpark, and I like Jackson Churio. We're going to see what he's got, coupled with William Contreras having a good year, and if Yelich can stay healthy. This team frustrates me. We don't have a ton of time to dive in, so I won't. But just I can't even think of the word, man. The rotation was good for so long, and we were just like, get us some bats. Now I feel like the bats have arrived, maybe a little bit, and the rotation is abysmal.
Yeah.
I think the offense can carry them to 78 wins. I don't think that would be that surprising. I think they're better than the Red Sox were last year, and that's how many games they won. So that's kind of was my measuring stick when I was thinking about this. But I thought about it for a long time, and then I just got frustrated. I got frustrated with Milwaukee because it's like, you got to be freaking kidding me, man.
I know. I don't understand this franchise. I really don't. It's like they mistimed the window on both pitching. Like they got pitching right for a number of years. They couldn't ever get the lineup right, and now it's like, oh, we're finally getting some bats that we're developing, and now we get rid of all of our pitching. And so it's
like if Miami traded literally everybody that was on the IL when they were healthy for a bunch of bats, and you're just like, okay, but now we're bad at this now. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
I don't understand. So dysfunction, I'm gonna say under.
I like it, dude. Yeah, we'll see. I want to keep track of this, and we'll come back and see how we do. I think that'll be kind of
fun.
Hey, speaking of, we don't know what's going to happen, man. Fun, yeah. Chicago, dude. Fun. They're playing on Sunday Night Baseball. I don't know how that's going, but that's pretty cool. New manager they're rolling out. They won 83 games last year. Vegas thinks they're like maybe a game better. 84.5 is the number. What do you got?
I do. I think the number feels right on it. I think this team is maybe slightly better than it was a year ago. But I also think that the division top to bottom, other than the Brewers, is also slightly better than it was a year ago. So I'm going to say this team probably wins 85, 86 games. So slightly over. And we'll see. I think this team has questions, at least in my mind, kind of across the board. I have questions about certain parts of the lineup. I have questions about certain parts of the rotation, and I have questions about the bullpen. But I also feel like there's usable good pieces in all of those equations as well. So this team could go just about anywhere, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going to say over because I do like some of their pieces for sure.
Yep, I'm with you, dude. Over. I'll keep it quick. I think bringing Belly back was huge. Obviously, if you don't do that, this number is probably at like 79.5.
Right.
Morel, Bush, Suzuki. Let's just see what a year of all those together. I think they've all kind of taken steps up. At least they looked that way in spring training. So let's see if they can, put together. It's going to be a long season, but let's see what they can do. I'm with you. The pin's kind of weird, and the rotation as well. But boy, Justin Steele. I think he only made it like 4.2. I just checked peep at the box score, but he looked pretty solid.
I think he may have tweaked a hammy or something.
That's no fun.
Yeah.
That is no fun for that sweet guy, man. Well, he can go hang out with Royce Lewis in the hammy tweaking room. Right. Here we go, man. Let's talk about a team that mashed today. My goodness gracious. Cincinnati, 81.5 is the number. They won 82 games last year. Did they get better, Will?
Oh, gosh. This one was really, really difficult for me. Oh, gosh. As much as I want to say over because I am truly rooting for this team to get good, I don't have faith in that front office, man. I don't love the fact that they don't seem to be addressing the starting rotation. Please don't give me Frankie Montas. That doesn't count for me. I don't want this team to basically do what the Brewers did for the last several years and I'm
Yeah.
getting a bad feeling that they're going to figure out a way to not take advantage of this talent.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm going to say slightly under. I hope I'm wrong, but this rotation scares me. The bullpen scares me. I just don't think that they've done enough to address some weaknesses. And I think with the young talent in that lineup, I think it's going to be kind of inconsistent for a lot of the season. And they need good pitching, and I don't think they're going to get it. And so that's kind of why I'm saying under as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I like it. I feel like we've been off on a bunch of these, but I'm going over, dude. I know the injury bug, it's a biting, and it's taking down that logjam in the infield that we so feared in fantasy. But, dude, I still think the lineup's like really solid 1 through 7. Number 8, Nick Martini, hit two
Yeah.
3-run bombs today. Dude, I don't know, man. We're going to see what this rotation, Montas looked, I'm like cautiously optimistic, but it's obviously one game, so can't dive in and go too silly with it. I think there's a world where this offense is like Texas light, though. That's what I wrote down. I'm gonna take the over and say they got a little bit better than last year. Pittsburgh, but dude, we're gonna like run into this, man. 75.5 is the number. 76 was the. I'm starting to see a pattern. Vegas doesn't know what to think of this team and what they're gonna do this year. What do you think, Will?
I don't either. I'm gonna say under. I think that this team is. I think this team's 1 year away. I think Paul Skeens will make his debut later this year at some point. I don't know when, but he's a potential franchise game changer for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jared Jones. He's another guy that they have super high hopes for. I don't know where the offense is going to come from unless O'Neal Cruz has an amazing year.
Yeah.
That's really a big concern of mine. Like I said, I just think this team's 1 year away. I really do. I think that I think this year they're going to figure out, all right, who are the guys that we're truly going to build around with this franchise for the foreseeable future. I think that's the main objective this year. I think if they nail a trade at the trade deadline, or if they nail a draft pick in the upcoming MLB draft and build on what they've got cooking, so to speak, I really like the direction that they're heading. But for right now, I'm going to say slightly under that total, just because I think this year they're going to lose a lot of games that are probably close and a lot of games that maybe they should win. And then starting next year, this team starts to be kind of a contender in the division.
Yeah. Dude, you're so convincing with your arguments. I took the over, but I'm like, maybe I should take it the under. Here's my thoughts. I kind of have two competing thoughts. What's Bednar going to be doing in August? He's still going to be in Pittsburgh? Because I think that's going to change my answer.
Yeah.
And then I think they're better than they were last year, just on the base case that I think O'Neal Cruz is going to play more than 9 games. And, he popped a homer today. He's that strikeout rate's still pretty high, but if it can get even to be like palatable for fantasy, 20, 22, 24, 25. I mean, just not 30. I think that'd be a good enough year to get them to 76, 77 wins. But we'll see. We'll definitely see that. Dude, the Paul Skeens thing and when they pull the trigger on that is such a it's such a ball up in the air, man. We don't know.
He can be a game changer.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate making comparisons. I really do. So I even hate kind of throwing this out there, but he could be
R.A. Dickey.
Right? He could be, I really believe this. If Paul Skeens is what we are thinking he could be, I really think he could be to Pittsburgh what Steven Strasburg started with that Nationals organization. Because you think about the Nationals were the bottom feeders at that particular time. With the number 1 overall pick, they picked Steven Strasburg out of San Diego State. He was immediately they saw that this guy was electric, and he ended up being a game changer for that franchise that they started bringing in pieces around and ended up winning a World Series. So I think over time, if this works, this could be a game-changing moment if Paul Skeens is what we think he could be.
I like it, dude. I like it. Hey, oh man, we're off on this too. This is hilarious. Hey, St. Louis, let's keep rolling. I love everything you just said. 84.5 win total last year was 71. The number this year, 84.5. You took the over. Tell me why.
Dude, this was, to be honest with you, this is the hardest one out of all the teams on this list. This was the hardest one.
Yeah.
I don't have a good reason, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The only reason why I think that they could do it is because I think they could still be the best of the bunch in this division.
Mm-hmm.
I think that their veterans have to be better than what they were a year ago. If they're not, this franchise is doomed for the foreseeable future.
Oh, yeah.
They got Sonny Gray. We were all clamoring for them to go out and get a really, really top of the line pitcher. I think Sonny Gray is a very good pitcher. So for all of those reasons, I am optimistic in thinking that the Cardinals are going to rebound, but I would not be the least bit surprised if it didn't happen and they were under.
Yeah. I feel like this is either going to be like this lineup's going to age like fine wine.
Yes.
Chunky milk, dude.
Yep.
I don't know. I took the under just on the base case. I feel like 14 games better than last year, and I understand they had a Murphy's Law kind of season.
Right.
I don't think they're going to be 14 games better, and I don't know. Maybe I need to stop looking at last year and saying like, oh, it's such a big jump in the fact that they just have to win 85 games. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
They added pitching. They needed pitching. Other than Sonny Gray, I'm not a big fan of what they added. Lance Lynn.
I agree.
Meh. Kyle Gibson. I mean,
I like Kyle Gibson better than probably most people, but I'm with you on Lance Lynn.
Yeah, I just think, Kyle Gibson is like a solid 3 at best. I mean, he's not a 2 in a good rotation, in my opinion. So,
no, I agree.
But I think Sonny comes back and does his thing. I think it can be something spectacular. I'm taking the under. Our final division, Will. Here we go, buddy. LAD, the West, the champions last year. The Dodgers, 103.5 wins is their number. That's a crazy, crazy number. They won 100 games last year, but they got Shohei. What do you got, bud?
Shohei ain't pitching this year, so I'm gonna say slightly under. Not because I don't think the Dodgers is an incredible regular season team, which I think they will be. Mm-hmm. I think the NL West is top to bottom. If you could somehow throw out the Rockies, top to bottom, this might be the most competitive division in all of baseball, other than maybe the AL East. I think there's 4 teams that legitimately could contend for a wild card berth. I think the Giants, with the moves they made late in free agency, I think the Giants are going to be a legitimate team. I think the Padres have to be better than they were a year ago. And I think the Diamondbacks, I mean, they won the National League last year, and by all accounts, I feel like they got better this offseason. So, for all of those reasons, I think the Dodgers are not quite going to get to 103 wins. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
And I do have some mild concerns about the Dodgers starting rotation.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, that top of that lineup is so incredible. Yeah. A lot of games, it's not even going to matter what the pitching looks like, but man, 103 is a huge number, and so I'm going to say slightly under that, mainly because of the division that they're in.
Yeah. Dude, it's kind of like rinse and repeat with the Braves. I actually like the Braves a lot better. If it was a prop bet like Braves over Dodgers, most wins, I'm going Braves. Pretty easy snap decision.
Yeah.
I do 103.5 games is just a crazy number, and I don't think, I'm not saying they're not going to win triple digits, but to think that they're definitely going to win 104, just because I understand it's a top 3. Excuse me. Unlike anything we've seen, but dude, you're smack dab right on with this pitching. It's just not. It looks good, because it's got a lot of shiny new things.
Yeah,
But you got a guy in Yamamoto who we've already seen. And I'm not saying he's going to get shelled every time he goes out there, but he's already trying to adjust. And then we got a guy in Tyler Glass now that I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the whole baseball world just came out and said, oh, he's in LA now. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to keep him healthy. No,
Mm-hmm.
this guy still has major injury concerns. So,
Mm-hmm.
what's Walker?
And Bobby Miller. Everybody loves Bobby Miller all of a
Oh,
sudden.
right here. I love him.
And here's the thing. I love the raw stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like he went out every start last year and just blew everybody away. That was not the case. He was solid and he showed a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see it first, right?
Yep.
Throughout the course of a whole season. So I'm with you. Like I do have legitimate concerns of that rotation. Is Walker Buehler going to be able to hold up all year? What's Kershaw going to look like if and when he comes back? All of those are legit concerns. So, I think we're on the same page for sure with this team.
No doubt, bud. Double unders. I like it. Hey, Arizona, 83.5. They won 84 games last year, and you just said you think they got better.
I do. I think they got better, so I'm going to say over. Granted, I think the other teams in the division, probably minus the Padres, I think on paper at least got better. But this number, to be honest with you, this number feels pretty right on it for me at least, because I'm not convinced that the playoff Arizona Diamondbacks we saw last year in the postseason, I'm not 100% sure that that's what this team really is.
Sure.
I think they were on a heater.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious to see how this team really pans out over the course of this 162 game season. So, they've got a lot of young pieces that I kind of want to see if they can validate what they did a year ago. I do like the rotation they've put together. But the lineup still is a question mark a little bit for me. So, in this division, as good as it is, I'm going to say over, but I do have some questions.
Yeah, same here, dude. I'm going over. I like what they're doing organizationally. Just, they went out and got Erod. He goes down. We're not going to, whine that our big free agent acquisition is hurt. No, we're going to go out and get Jordan Montgomery. Yeah. They're going to go for it, man. They're trying to prove next year's not a fluke, and for that reason alone, I'm taking the over. I think when the organization has your back, I guarantee as a player, you're like, okay, they're behind us. They're going out there trying to make this team better. Let's go out and prove them right. So
I agree.
Give me Arizona on the over for sure. I definitely think they got better. I'm not saying they're going to take the crown. Right. They're not winning the West Crown or anything, but it's something to get excited about. San Diego, same exact number, 83.5. They won 82 games last year. What do you got, bud?
I'm saying under.
Ooh.
If you lose Juan Soto, dude,
true.
You can't tell me that team got better. So
look at the last team that lost Juan Soto. How they doing?
Right. I just I don't know. And plus they lost think about who they lost in that pitching staff too. They lost Blake Snell, who won the Cy Young. He's in the division, by the way, with a team they're going to be playing a lot this year in San Francisco.
It's going to be fun.
They lost a guy like Seth Lugo. They lost Waka. I'm not saying those guys are superstars, but, man, those guys are innings eaters. They put a lot of good starts together, and you mentioned it right there. Josh Hader is also not in that ninth inning bullpen role. So I have a hard time seeing this team putting together enough wins to hit that number. So I'm definitely saying under for the Padres.
Yep. I see what you're saying. I took the over. I like the Cease move, even though I'm not totally blind to the fact that it's got high payoff potential. It's got high bust potential.
Yeah.
But I just like that core. I think they can win more than 83 games. So I agree with everything you just said. No doubt. I think, they really do a good job putting these numbers down because you can go either freaking way. And I guess that's Vegas's thing. That's how they make the money. I'll take the over. I want to see Tatis healthy, no steroids. Let's have higher than a 750 OPS for a season.
It is time.
It's time to go, dude.
It's time.
It's your team, man. So let's see it. I'm gonna have to find another keeper next year, Will. It's not gonna be fun, buddy. San Francisco, 81.5, dude. What do we got?
You know what? I was down on this team for a lot of the offseason, but they finished with a bang. I think that the more that I've thought about it, I think Blake Snell is a really, really good addition to that rotation. I get he's not going to be quite ready for probably a week or two, but
yeah,
I think he's going to be a great addition for this team. I think Lee, who's their leadoff hitter, I think he's going to help be a spark plug for that offense. Logan Webb is maybe the most underrated pitcher in the whole game. They've got but just a super solid bullpen with Duvall at the end of it, who's one of the best closers in baseball. And a guy like Matt Chapman, like I don't love Matt Chapman, I'll be the first to say it, but man, that team needed offense, and I think he's going to at least provide some depth that they needed in that lineup, along with a guy like Soler. And this team has always figured out ways to win, even when they didn't have as talented of a roster. And that's what I like about the Giants, maybe more than anything. Let's see how Bob Melvin gels with this new roster that he's got. But I like the idea of this team winning over that amount of games. I think they're going to finish second in the division, slightly over the Diamondbacks. So I'm going to go slightly over on the Giants this year.
Dude, I think for them to get second in the division, they're probably going to crush this over, man. I like everything you said. I love the ads on this team, man. I think when dude, the two pitching injuries that happened in Beck and I guess it was just Beck. I don't know why I thought our main man
Robbie Ray starts on the IL. Remember they have Robbie Ray.
That is true, yes, sir. But I thought Harrison went down, but it looks like he's healthy, so that's great news. But that Beck going down with we don't even have a timetable because of the aneurysm in his arm. I was really looking forward to see what he had to offer, and then when they added Snell, I mean, this could have been a really long rotation. Dude, I'm really excited about the top four in Webb, Harrison, Snell, Hicks.
I agree.
It's Oakland. I understand it was Oakland. He looked unbelievable in his last spring training start, and I'm 10 strikeouts and 5 perfect innings. Dude looks nasty. So let's freaking see, man. I got the over big time. I love what they did to the offense, like you were talking about, and the rotation doesn't really spook me as much as it did Duvall. I don't know. He's just a freaking stud. Okay, he might lead the league in closes or saves again.
Yep.
Okay, last one. We saved the most beautiful ballpark ? For last. I don't know. The Rockies, man, 60.5 is the number. They won 59 games last year. What do you got?
So I'm going to use the same argument for Colorado that you used with, I think it was the White Sox earlier. I see 60 games and a half as the number, and I'm like, they could lose 101 games and I could still get the over. So with that logic, I'm going to say the over. Surely they can win a couple of 15 to 14 games in Coors Field. So, I'm going to say that they win 62 games and lose 100. So I'm going to say slightly over. I have no good reason otherwise, but I just think that this team can somehow, some way not lose 102 or more games.
Yeah. Well,
it's very possible.
It's bad. It's like, listen, it's hard to lose that many games. Unless you're trying to. I listen. I put under, but I think I was just tired of trying to figure out a reason why they could. I mean, Chris Bryant needs to be better. Blackman, he's kind of a legacy guy there. You ask somebody born in 2005 who they think of when they think of a Rocky, it's going to be Blackman. This guy's a stud. What's Tovar going to get? They inked him. I don't know if you saw this, to that long-term deal. 7 years. I haven't seen a dollar figure come out on that yet, and I don't know if they're just keeping it under wraps.
I saw it. I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. Well, dude, I can't wait to read about it, and then we'll talk about it on episode 75. But dude, this lineup, it's it's got some stuff you can be like, okay, like Brendan Rodgers can do something, and Nolan Jones, what's he gonna do? But the rotation.
The pitching's a disaster.
It's a disaster. And a bunch of guys in the bullpen that no one's ever heard of. I mean,
right.
I know Jalen Meeks. I know you know Jalen Meeks, former Ray, lefty.
I feel sorry for him going to Colorado.
Dude, pitchers getting drafted to Colorado got to be like, son of a gun.
I know. Dude, can you imagine, though, being a pitcher in the Tampa Bay Rays system and having to go to Colorado? That's got to be like worse than going to the White Sox, you know?
It's a
like
demotion,
I just can't imagine.
Well, no, I saw. I want to try and find it while I'm on their page, dude. They had that guy from Tennessee that throws absolute gases in their system, and I got to thinking like, well, we're never gonna see him again.
Oh yeah.
Son of a gun, dude. I'm not gonna be able to find it because this is broke down so odd on roster resource. Where are the pitchers? Okay, here we go. Wait, hang on. Here we got catchers, third baseman. This is what you guys are all hanging around for. Okay, let's see.
Wait, are you referring to Ben Joyce?
No, didn't he go to the Angels?
Yeah, he's an Angel.
All right, AA, AAA. Dude, I'm dying. Oh, Chase Dollander. I found it. Thanks for hanging in.
Yep.
To bring in the heat. Yep, Dollander. Yeah, I didn't realize he's in their single A system right now, which that doesn't add up because he's every bit of he's 22, so he's in college. So anyway. I'm taking the under. Will's taking the over because he wants this episode to be over. He can go to bed. Dude, we made it through all 30 teams. That's something to be excited about. What are your thoughts on this?
Man, I had a lot of fun doing this. Let's definitely see how our predictions shake out. But man, I'm just so excited that the regular season is here. Starting with the next episode of 75, we're going to be back in our regular season modes and have all sorts of either fantasy stuff or regular season baseball to talk about. So I couldn't be more excited. And as always, appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening.
I know you guys remember that sound, okay? We're going to bring it back, all right? Heat Check Players of the Week. They're coming back, guys. And Roman Candle, we're going to have a great time. What's it going to be, Will?
It's going to be lit.
That's what I'm talking about, guys. We appreciate you. Do me a favor. If you made it this far, go check us out on YouTube. It's Bringing the Heat. And then, of course, you're listening to this podcast. Leave us a little review, 5 stars or, 2 thumbs up. Whatever the rating system is. If you have any questions, leave them down below. That'd be fantastic. Reach out to us on Twitter at BTH_Cody and at Will Sism. Guys, great luck in week 1 in fantasy. We really appreciate you. But until next time, thanks for listening to episode 74 of Bringing the Heat.